We'll do that. Okay, there we go. So last week we translated and we started analyzing, but we did not get very far. So as usual, we'll review. And the goal this time is to start theorizing on our own. I said in the chat that one of two things is going to happen after we theorize on our own. Either we will decide to go through the whole perek with one of the meforshim, and I flagged Metzudas David as the candidate because he's very minimalistic, or we will work heavily on the second pasuk. Okay, and right now I'm leaning towards going on the whole perek, but we'll see where our analysis goes. Okay, so I made our own translation here based on what we did last time. I just cleaned it up a bit, so let's go through slowly again. Okay, Lam Natseach, this is Tehilim Samachay. Lam Natseach Mizbul David shiur, for the conductor by a psalm by David a song. L'cha dumia sihila Elokim b'Tzion. To you, silence is praise O God in Zion. Now, I did not mention last time that there are different translations of L'cha dumia sihila. In fact, a lot of the Rishonim say that it means hope. Okay, I don't know how you translate the pasuk like that, but I just wanted to mention it. In fact, what was that? Dumia. Let me just see if Ima Novetsky in her footnotes has. This is not. Okay, this might not be Ima Novetsky. Let's say, for example, the Radak. Radak has it. Dumia inyan tocheles means a hope. Kamo diminu elokim chasdecha. Mishorsh dama. V'chein mishorsh damam. Domu ad higianu elechem. Ach lelokim domi nafshi. Amar. So what does it mean? Lacham yacheles hatihila. Shete'amer lach b'tzion b'kibbutz galios. So he says, to you, maybe not hope, maybe to await. Await is a better thing. To you, it says it in English here. Praise waits for you. Okay, so we're not taking it that way. I think because I want to give presence to the Rambam. So we're saying to you, silence is praise, O God in Zion. Ulecha yishulam neder, and to you a vow will be paid. Shomea tefillah. O hearer of tefillah, adecha kol basar yavo, unto you all flesh will come. Divrei avonos gavru many, matters of iniquities have overwhelmed me. Pishainu ata sachaprein, may you atone for our crimes, or you do atone for our crimes. Ashrei tivchar uskarev yishkon chatzirecha, nisba'a betu besecha kedosh hechalacha. Happy / praiseworthy is the one whom you choose to draw near, that he may dwell in your courtyards. May we be sated with the good of your house, the holiness of your temple. Noraos betzedek ta'anenu elokei yishenu miftach kol katzvei eretz v'yam rechokim. With awesome acts in righteousness may you answer us, O God of our salvation, security of all who inhabit the earth's ends and those far off should be at sea. Okay, I'm asking this question just for informational purposes. Did you listen to the first part or not? Okay, fine. All right, so this is your first time. All right. I just need to have that in case there's something that we all know that you don't know that I need to tell you. Okay. We're on 7, I think. Yeah. Mechin harim b'kocho nezar b'gvura, who sets mountains with his strength, who is girded with might. Mashbiach she'on yamim she'on galehem v'hamon leumim, who calms the roar of the seas, the roar of their waves, and a multitude of regimes. Vayiru yoshevei ktavos me'ososecha motzai voker va'erev tarnin. May those who dwell at the extremities fear your signs. With the outgoings of morning and evening, you cause joyful praise. Hakadta haaretz v'tashokekeha. I practiced that word like a lot tonight. Ravas ta'ashrena peleg elokim male mayim tachin deganam ki chen tachineha. You paid heed to the earth and watered it. You enriched it abundantly from God's stream filled with water. You prepared their grain, for thus did you prepare it. Tolameha rave naches gedudeha birevivim tomogagena tzimcha tavarech. To abundantly water its ridges, settle its furrows, melt it with showers. Its growth you bless, or may you bless. Itarta shanas tovasecha uma'agalecha yirafun dashen. You crown your bountiful year, and your paths drip with abundance. Yirafu naos midbar v'gil gvaos tachgorna. They drip onto desert pastures, and the hills gird themselves with joy. Lavshu harim hatzon va'amakim ya'atfu var yisrova'u af yashiru. The meadows don sheep, and the valleys cloak themselves with fodder. They shout joyfully, they even sing. Okay, there's our perek. Okay, so we determined, I think without conflict, right? I don't think anyone disagree with this, that the pivot is like this with 6 as the hinge. Okay, why? Because 1 through 5 seems to be about David as a Jewish human in Yerushalayim, talking about God, talking to God or whatever. And then 7 through the end is really about how God relates to the earth and its growth. And then 6 is this like transition point where with awesome acts and righteousness may you answer us. So that's still a tefillah theme. God of our salvation, that's still a personal thing. Security of all who inhabit the earth's ends of those far off. See, that's when he zooms out to the entire earth. Okay, and then that the earth is the focus from that point on. Yeah. Okay, so I don't think we finished getting our questions. So let's review our questions and then see if there are any more questions. So our questions, hold on, this is going to bug me for the rest of the night. Okay. Questions. Western Monarch Day. Happy Western Monarch Day, everyone. Okay. What is the unifying theme of the entire thing? That's obviously the question we ask on everything. Okay, 2. What does it mean that silence is praise? I would say it's not. Okay, right. 2, another puzzle on 2. Why mention paying back a netter? What does that have to do with anything? And then what's the relationship between this opening statement and the contents of the perek? The contents of the perek don't really seem to match this theme. Oh, here's the thing that you won't know. Or maybe you're wondering on the thing. So you notice how I put the space there? So
I read your intro bit on the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is you called it the something?
The thesis puzzle. Yeah, right. So here's the thing. In this Masoretic note, it says Parsha Psucha. Okay, I guess that's based on a manuscript. I did check the Aleppo Codex, and the Aleppo Codex does not have a space there. So take from that what you may. But this thing says that there's a space there. But either way, I don't think you need the space to say that this is a thesis because this is the opening statement. So like, whatever. Okay, so that is why. What is the relationship between this and the rest of the perek? Isn't L'cha Dumia undermined by the whole perek and the whole sefer? And also the very next pasuk, right? So we said that you could theoretically start off every perek with this pasuk, and it also goes against the entire idea of a book of praising God. Okay, pasuk 5. How does this yearning for mikdash fit into the agrarian perek? Right. So we said that most of the perek is about growth, very little about avoda and mikdash activities. So just kind of like stands out here. Another question on 5. Who is this talking about and how does this work? In 5, this one who you bring close and draw near, that he may dwell in your courtyards and be sated with good. So who is that and what exactly are we saying that God is going to do? Having a vow renewal ceremony with Alex? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Mr.
Yeah. We got a Shimshon that walked in here with yeah, okay. All right, enough of that. All right. Psukim 6 and 9 both talk about people who dwell at the extremities of the earth. So the question is, who are these people? Are they the same people? Why do we focus on God saving them and protecting them? And then in 9, we talk about God instilling fear in them. Why are we even talking about them is the question. Pasuk 8, which is the one about also the roar of the seas. What's the relationship between God calming the roaring seas, which is natural, and then calming the tumult of the nations, which seems to be some sort of hashgacha, unrelated to natural patterns. Also, the whole thing with the nations does not fit into the whole agriculture theme, calming the nations. Which, by the way, just spoiler alert, not for tonight, but spoiler alert for like other meforshim. Many meforshim take this whole second half of the perek metaphorically. Okay, I would like to not do that. I would like to assume it's talking about the natural world. Yeah, Chaim?
Yeah. Is there do we know if there's can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay. Do we know if there's like a specific time or instance where this perek was recited?
Okay, so we don't know from the perek. There are various theories. I'm just going to go over just basic paradigm that we have here, which is that in my experience, there are 3 types of perek of Tehilim. There's biographical, which is about David and episodes in his life. There's national, which is about Klal Yisrael, either in the past, the present, or in the future. And then there's universal ideas like Ashrei, where it's not about a person or a nation. It's like just, well, Ashrei, according to most people, is just about praising God and about how God relates to the world. So a lot of the meforshim that I read said that this is about Klal Yisrael, and that this is either something we say in Galus, yearning for the ultimate Geula, or this is about the ultimate Geula, which I guess is kind of the same thing. Yeah.
I know I've only looked at this for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I think my initial thing was that like this would be this like just made me think of like Aliyah Laredo.
Okay.
So the vibe that I've got.
So if you're gonna say it's about Aliyah Laregel, there are people.
Actually, specifically, it's actually about like Yom Kippur.
Oh, interesting. Where are you getting that from?
Mainly from.
Oh, the Kapara.
The Kapara, but then also on Pasuk 5, it's
Yeah.
the one who he chose to draw near.
Right.
And
yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. There is the only one I saw. I didn't do all the meforshim, but the only one I saw who says that this is about. I don't think this is giving anything away, but you know, this is going to now be on the table, which is the Malbim, who you don't have, says Husad al Birkas Hageshamim Asher Nasan Hashem Achrei Harav. So this is I don't think this is Birkas Hashamim like Hageshamim like the bracha we say, but meaning the blessing of rain that God brings after a famine, okay, which would explain why everything is sprouting and there's food everywhere. But then he says, "V'yuchal lios shahaya al harav shahaya b'mei David shalosh shanim Moshe kasav b'sof Shmuel." So that there's that time when there's a 3-year famine. Is that where he chose? Or is that a different thing? That was a plague.
That was the Magazine, right?
Yeah, right. So that's a different thing. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this this famine. I don't know Shmuel well enough. Yeah, Tamar?
It was just like an observation. I wasn't here last time, so I'm not sure if this was
Sure.
mentioned, but in the nature part,
yeah,
it does. I mean, there's the regimes, but there's like at least 1 or 2 more times where it seems to have a somewhat human perspective. It's not totally like,
correct.
You know, the hills are singing shiur.
Alive with sound of music. Yeah, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he does talk about the signs of the people dwelling at the extremities, fear your signs, and one more.
I don't know. Actually, I'm just looking at the translation. You prepared their grain in 10. I don't know if that's talking about people.
Yeah. What do you say, Chaim?
10 is talking about the earth.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what we said, that's why I use the word agrarian as opposed to, let's say, like purely natural world. Like there are programs that talk about, I think we mentioned last time, like the forests singing, or like Barking Nafshi is about like the critters scurrying, you know. Right. This is like all grain and fodder and bounty, you know, these are all like agriculture or reaping terms. So it's not, you're right, it's not totally divorced from humans, but regimes is like political. And I feel like I don't get that vibe really from a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just continue our questions. Then we'll continue analyzing. I think we slipped into analysis mode here. 9. What are the signs? How do they cause fear? 10. What is God's stream? And I mentioned last time that whenever you add the word God to something, it can mean it's just a magnifier. So like the example I gave is, and this is going to sound like a joke, but it's not, Godzilla. But the Tanakh does that a lot. It just adds the word God to something. Like Shalhevesia means the fire of God, which just means big fire, or Har Elohim is a big mountain, you know, according to some. Yeah. Another one is Nineveh. Nineveh is an Ir Gedola Elohim, a great city to God. And what's the problem with saying that's a great city to God? It's very bad. Yeah, was it? Yeah, right. So I think one of I don't know if it's the Radak says it just means it was a huge city. Okay, so like, you know, it makes it
from space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes you, oh my God, you know, what a city, you know, and so that's what it is.
I think you'd say God tier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. God tier. Yeah, that's a good modern. Yeah. Okay. The end of the perek. What situation is this describing? Given that it's not a guarantee, meaning all this sprouting stuff. 14. How are the pastors shouting and singing? Okay. Any other questions that you saw when we were going through this here? Yeah.
Question to you.
Yeah.
Why is it as agrarian? I see that 10 and on, but 7 and 9 don't.
Okay, so let's do a little collection here. Let's collect some agrarian terms. Okay, let's use the ugly color just to make it stand out here. And then we'll undo all of it. Okay, so we have
I see it for 10
watering it. which again, I'm not saying that this is exclusively agrarian, but watering the earth,
What does agrarian mean?
meaning having to do with agriculture,
Oh.
right? Enriching it, making it rich. God's so I think Peleg, I need to see whether Peleg is like an irrigation type stream or if it's like a natural stream. I don't know what the connotation is. Preparing their grain, preparing it again. Okay. Furrows and ridges, I think, are both like landscaping type
Also
terms.
abundantly water, it's ridges, that's also.
Yeah, abundantly water, it's ridges. Its growth may you bless. I don't think we talk about God blessing the forest growth. I think bracha is like associated with like, like in the Shema, V'hayayim Shema, crown your bountiful year, abundance. What was that?
Melt it with showers.
Melt it with showers. Yeah.
What does that even mean though?
Yeah, we'll go through some meforshim in a second. Now 13 is the exception, but I think the way I take 13 is that there is so much rain that even the wilderness is blooming, like
pastures, so that's where they have their flocks.
Right, that's also true. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, right, flocks, meadows, dawning sheep, which are domesticated animals that we have. Fodder, this is bar. This is like what we bar is not used for natural growth, right? Bar is like specifically growth that you feed to people or animals. So those are the indications that I see.
Here's my point, is that only starts, from 10 and on.
Yeah, right.
It's not like the whole perek is
Right.
about that.
No. Yeah, I wasn't saying the whole perek. I was saying the second half of the perek. And even in the second half of the perek, I think you could argue that 7 through 9 is about the people, and then 10 through the end is about like the produce and stuff. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna get rid of all these uglinesses now. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Moshe.
Can you only do questions or observations?
Oh, you could do observations also.
Right. The phrase of may you maybe say with the good of your house,
Yeah.
and may you crown your bountiful year, ring up in my mind as phrases we say in Baruch Aleinu.
Right. That's a good observation here. Yeah. That reminded me of something. Oh yeah, a question, which is a question on the entire thing, which is which of these future tenses should be understood as this will happen, and which may this happen. And that's the stance we're gonna have to either take on the entire thing or on individual circumstances here. Yeah. I kind of wonder about 4.
Yeah, I was reading that.
Yeah. So in 4, why are we talking about atonement for sins and being overwhelmed by them? I think that's the only. I guess you could also say the fear is a negative note about, but this is the only like.
That's the main negative. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the main negative thing. Yeah, it kind of just stands out.
I guess implied negative is like the unpaid vows.
Well, it's interesting, right? You could look at these as glass half empty of unpaid vows.
And that's like the whole thing about vows is like, are they bad to make or are they good to make?
Yeah, but he's framing them in a good way as I'm going to pay my vows, which is a good thing, right? Like he's not saying like, I don't know, like if I saw some hint of like, the vows that I mean, look, the ones who hold that this is about galus and the ultimate gula are saying that we have a bunch of things that we would like to be able to do in Mikdash that we can't do, but I don't know if that's like so pashut from the thing. Yeah. Yeah, Moshe.
I guess in the first part, what's the deal with switching back between the plural and the singular?
Oh, where I didn't notice that.
Well, there's all flesh, all flesh will come, and
Okay.
then there's then
Oh,
4
many.
is about me,
Right.
and so it's 5, but then the 5 ends with everyone.
Okay, that's a good question also. Okay, so let's do I'm gonna tack this onto the 5 question here, which is no, I'll do it in the 1 through 5. So 1 through 5. Who is this section talking about, and why does it switch between I guess the many and the individual?
A lot of tense changing.
Yeah.
Lot of tense changing.
Yeah. Some of those observations I can't disagree with, but it's just difficult to like deal with on a individual
I mean,
level.
just taking like 7 and on, well, actually,
Yeah.
maybe before that, but
Yeah.
I guess taking the whole thing,
Yeah.
right? Like I think no response. I mean, I guess if you want to take 7 on, right, the first 2 are like, I guess, present tense, right? Then he sets mountains, he does things, and 8 as well. And then 9 is like talking about the future.
Yeah,
And then 10 goes back to the past.
right. Yeah, that's a weird one.
And then
Cottage dog.
goes back to the present.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'll ask that just in case what's with all the tense changes?
It's like
Yeah.
doesn't read smoothly.
Yeah.
Like some other fucking real.
Ooh, I have an answer to that. Okay, anyway.
Well, and I'm a little confused. It says you paid heed to the earth and water that you enriched it. That seems like it's talking to you is about God.
Yeah,
And then it says you enriched it abundantly from God's stream filled with water. What
Yeah.
does that even mean?
so that supports my reading of God's stream, which just means a big old stream.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, Moshe?
Can I ask a question about this compared to a line from another song?
Sure.
Just on L'chad Dumia Tehila.
Yeah,
We do say at the end of Tehilim 145, Tehillah Hashem Yidabir Pei. So-
right. That's
And
true.
it is specifically at Tehillah.
Right. And we're that's a direct contradiction, right? Like
Was that one of our questions?
we asked about how this is consistent with all the rest of
Right,
Sefer Tehilim, but
right,
you're pointing out like a
right.
particular
Yeah.
parallel, yeah. Okay, I think let's shift into analysis mode here. Okay, anyone have any ideas? So just to go over our method again, I listed on the back of your sheet also. So what we try to do, so this is from Mortimer Adler's How to Read a Book, which I adapted to Tehilim. The questions are, what is the perek saying as a whole? What's the theme or subject or main idea? 2, what's the perek saying in detail and how? What do the individual psukim mean? Why are the psukim ordered in this manner? Why did he say these things in this way? 3, is the perek true in whole or in part? It's not enough to rely on David's authority. We have to be convinced to the satisfaction of our own minds, to the point where we can convincingly explain and ideally rationally demonstrate these ideas to someone else. And then what of it? What's the purpose of the perek? What effect is this supposed to have on us? How are we supposed to change our lives or our relationship to Hashem? So we tend to focus on questions 1 and 4. Those are the most important ones. And then we kind of use 2 to test our theory, meaning we come up with the main idea and then run it through and see what we get out of it. 3, we don't really deal with unless there's a problem, So like in this case, the problem would be, is this really going to happen? Like that all this abundance is gonna come forth. Like, so that's where we would be confronted with that. Okay, Isaiah and then Moshe.
I guess. So I have I think an approach
Yeah.
that I'm still kind of, maybe when I say it, the ideas will get clearer.
Okay.
As I say them. Like we
Oh,
said
good in
Monday.
Mishlei
Yeah.
on Monday. Yeah.
Can I take a quick question about that?
Yeah, sure.
Just no matter what we say, won't we have to focus on at least the L'chad Dumia Tehillah, even as we're saying a general approach?
That's what I think, because I do feel like that is a thesis or an overarching statement. But I'll tell you what, if we came up with an idea that everything fit except for that pasuk, then I might change my tune. Like then I might be like, okay, so we can't, we're missing a step, but like we're getting a main idea. Yeah. But my intuition is along with you there. Yeah.
But I think to me, well, I want to learn this as a parent that's like a universal.
Okay.
Parent. In that there is like, reminds me a little bit of like Stoic things, that the silence, well, let me start in the other half, is like God set up a system where like good just like comes about naturally through like letting the system do its thing.
Okay.
And like in the natural world, like there are mountains that God has like put in place, and he put in place the seas, and like he's in control of it. And through those systems, like all this great abundance like comes about.
Yeah.
Through the cycles, the water cycle.
Okay, good.
Things
I
like
also have a
that.
water cycle theory for this. Yeah.
And it brings about grain, and it brings about the plants that also like allow the animals to do things, and you're also able to take part of the same growth if you don't contradict it, basically.
Okay.
If you like I was thinking like you don't leave your vows unpaid.
Yeah.
Like to me it reminds me of what we say in Elokai and Sor, of like your soul should be silent, of like not like having like a lien on your soul, like things that make your soul loud would be like having your vows unpaid, or iniquities that need atonement, or these things that stop you from just being able to like be in line with the system so that you can grow memela from the system.
Okay, good. This is like very, very close to the idea that Ken and I came up with. So I like this. So let me just talk it through and let's just develop it a little bit, right? So 7 through 14, loosely speaking, and this is also the challenge that we always, I feel like we've gotten worse at this, of not getting caught up in the details. I think we should try to err on the other side of like forgetting about the details, or not getting caught up at least. So generally speaking, the second half is talking about how there are these systems in nature that Hashem, supervises, right? And it is they yield this abundance, and there's a way that they work, this is my answer to the question about the tense changes.
Yeah, I just have an answer also,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You want to say yours or?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because and this is another thing that popped in my mind when we first read it. Is that, I think for 10 specifically, it's kind of like harking back to like my Gracious. That's like what I got from that. Is that like 10 is talking about like what he did to like set things off, and then 10 ends off with and what did he do it for, and then it like goes down into the,
I see. Yeah.
Into like what he into like how
it trickles down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's good. Also, yeah. I was just gonna say it's past, present, and future because it's being a cycle. Which is so you're evoking time. If it was just future, then it would be focused on a particular instance of God bringing rain. But if you supervise the earth, you do this, you will do that. Yeah.
What was that? Perek, I think last year we talked about God being wrapped in a cloak or something. We talked about that was
Hashem Malach Geus Lavish. That's the one 93.
We said that was
No.
What's the mind run?
No, this is the one we say after Mizmor Shilim Shabbos. Hold on, that's gonna bother me. It is 93, isn't it? Yeah, 93. Yeah, okay. Right.
We said that was like Midas or hunting. I don't remember enough.
You're reminding me of you're reminding me of another question, which is on where are all the clothing mashalim? 7
there's
12
14.
Yeah, 7, 12, and 14, right? So 7, 12, 14. What's up with the clothing metaphors? Yeah. Okay, so then just continuing with Isaiah's idea here. So you have all these natural systems, and Hashem runs those automatically, so to speak, meaning that they're not dependent on they can't be disrupted. Hashem set them in Sheshis Mei Breshis, and they yield all this great abundance and bracha, okay? But now you look at us, and it's not exactly like that, right? So human beings also have a system by which we run, and if we align ourselves with that properly, then we're successful, but it's not guaranteed. It's dependent on our bechira. And so you see, I don't know exactly how the silence being praise fits in. Oh, you know the question we didn't ask? Okay, hold on just a second. We did not explicitly ask the question about what the focus is on. Hold on just a second. So this is going to be on 2 and 5. How does the focus? I guess how does the mention of Tzion and this yearning for Mikdash fit in? Yeah. Okay. So who wanted to say you for silence being praised?
To me, the silence is like the allowing of the good to just versus like putting things out there, like putting yourself in a state of like the silence is like doing nothing and letting the good just happen.
Oh, okay. That's a beautiful idea. Okay, yeah.
Also, so silence is like the lack of like chaos.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So meaning if everything's like running smoothly, then it's like ideally things should be like, I guess like it may be a little bit metaphorical, but like metaphorically silent, in the sense that like nothing is. Ooh.
We're not aligning ourselves with the system.
We don't have to
Yeah. No, that was the old computer. We destroyed that in the fire. Yeah, this is weird. Go on.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say.
Print.
Print it.
I don't want to print. Yeah.
I was gonna say that that the silence is like Isaiah was saying. I think silence is like order. Like when everything's ordered and it's like working properly,
Yeah.
and nothing's sticking out, nothing's like like how you would call like if someone wears like a loud shirt, like that kind of silence.
Yeah.
Where like everything's like ordered and
Okay.
like working
So
properly.
so I think I have a basis for your idea in another perek, but I want to write down both of them. Okay. So Isaiah's answer is the praise is not imposing your own I'm just gonna say contributions, not a contribution. That's
Oh yeah,
what
he's
I'm saying.
putting quotes. Contribution.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Contributions onto God's creation, but just beholding it, right? And recognizing that it's perfect. I mean, what this reminds me of is like the people who are like going on hikes or whatever to like some scenic thing. So there's nothing like inherently wrong with taking a picture, but there is something inherently wrong with constantly taking pictures. It's like
Not really looking at it.
yeah, you're not really looking at it, right? Like, and it's not like you are like at a certain point it becomes detracting from it by like trying to make it into your product,
You're not there. Like,
Yeah, you're not present there at all, right? So that's like what you're saying is like the real praise would be just stop and admire. Like you sometimes like when you're trying to show someone something and you are so enthusiastic about it that the other person's just like, just shut up and let me enjoy it, like I feel like there's
the opposite is when
yeah.
you're trying to like show somebody something and then they keep asking is like, oh, this is how it works.
Oh, that could be
Like,
also,
and you're
yeah,
like,
right.
no, like let
Right.
me
In other
know
words,
what I'm doing, and then,
there's
we'll see.
a point of I don't know if this is the most exact usage of diminishing returns in praising something perfect where kol hamosif gorea, the more you say, the more you take away. So then Chaim's idea though is that because God's system is so perfect, it speaks for itself. The order itself is its own praise, and there's no need for human voices. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or well,
Or is there no need for adding?
yeah, and that I think like just Memela by and maybe we'll say human edition, like Memela moves things out of order, whereas like because we have our own thoughts and like our own ideas of like what's good and what's gonna add to the thing, we end up like messing it up.
Yeah, that only detracts. That only messes stuff up. Yeah, Tamar and then Oren and then Moshe.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if it's just to try and define the difference between these two ideas, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that one idea is that like the way that a person should interact with something good, I guess something about that. It's like almost like a quality in the person, maybe. That I mean, like with the hiking analogy.
Yeah.
That you need to appreciate it, and by appreciating it, you have to just that's the thing a person has to do is like experience it,
Yeah.
Versus like something about the idea of having like a perfect thing, that like
Right.
it's attractive to talk about it. I'm not sure exactly, but I thought maybe it was something like that.
Right. Is it a din in the gavra or in the hefza?
Oh.
Right. Right. In other words, is this about how you engage with that thing that's perfect, or is it about the I don't know? Yeah, I'm just making this up. Yeah, but I think I hear what you're saying. Yeah, Oren.
Just on the basic idea here.
Yeah.
What
Basic idea of the perek or of this
of
l'chadumia?
Isaiah, no, just what Isaiah said.
Okay. Yeah.
What exactly is the chiddush? Like, isn't this what's different? Isn't this just Shema?
Okay. We'll I want to explore that in a second. I just want to did you have something on the l'chadumia sila? Okay, thanks. So I want to say on Chaim's thing, what I associated to when you were saying your idea, Chaim, is Tehilim 19. Hashemayim misaprim kavod kel, right? The heavens declare the glory of God. Umasi adav magid harakia, and the firmament proclaims. His.
No, it is the rakia because magid is singular.
Yeah, right. So the firmament proclaims his handiwork, right? That's or really talks about his handiwork is probably the better way to say it. But here's what it made me think. Yom liyom omer, yabia omer, v'layla lele chave das. This is a hard thing to translate. Day, do we learn this perek?
I mean, it's what we say all the time.
I know.
I don't know.
Let's see.
I think we did something on it, like maybe you explained some ideas from it.
Yeah, let's see if we have a translation. That is for Shabbos. That is the wrong number. Tehilim 19. Translation Tehilim 19. That looks promising. Yeah, there we go. The heavens declare, evidently we've done this. The heavens declare the glory of God. A day following day expresses speech, and night following night speaks knowledge. There is no speaker, and there are no words. Their voice is unheard. So in other words, one of the ideas I think we came up with there is that this is so perfect that like it speaks for itself. And I remember I'm having deja vu now, remembering talking about like a really good piece of art. It speaks for people say it like I'll let it speak for itself. You don't need to praise it. If you praise it, then that is implying like some less perfection in it. Whereas it speaks for itself is it's exhibiting its own perfection. That's what
it's like people shush each other while trying to look at a painting.
Yeah.
It's like someone's talking. It's like quiet. I'm like
right. Yeah. Okay. So now, before I go into your separate approach, I want to develop Isaiah's idea with Oren's questions. The question is what's the chiddush? Okay. So what's the chiddush? And I think we still need to develop the first half a little bit more also. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a Havamina.
Okay.
And it's funny because I thought Oren was going to say it actually. But the Havamina could be that human beings are part of the system.
Yeah.
And so, not to say that like, oh, we just like are both raw and like part of the system, and so like that's part of the beauty of the system.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I kind of want to say that. It's like no matter what we do, like God created us as part of the system, and so like we can do whatever we want to do, and then like the system's perfect, and it'll either like recalibrate and or like we're just part of what's built into it is that we just dump garbage in the ocean, like
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Because like we're part of the system.
Yeah,
like,
right.
As a whole.
Right.
So the point is like, well, yes, and like there are things that we should do that are good for the system, things that are bad for the system.
Okay, I hear that. I hear that approach. Okay, so
the reason I thought Oren was gonna say this because Oren and I have had a couple arguments about like whether or not we think like mountains are more like beautiful or like cities. And so I thought you were gonna say that because like Oren, whatever.
Yeah. W, which one do you think? No, I'm just kidding. So Chaim's answer is that the Havamina is that a person might mistakenly think that, because humans have Bechira, then whatever we choose, is like as much in line with God's design of the universe. Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the Bechira or it's because of the fact that we're part of the system.
Okay, because
we're part of the system, because we're part of God's overall system, then no matter like what we choose, it's all part of
we're part of the system, right? Then whatever we choose is as much in line with God's design of the universe as the natural systems, right? After all, God said, rule over the fish of the sea, etc. So we can overfish the waters off Japan and run out of sushi. Okay, well that's the my little complaint there. So Kamash Malan, so I think, but this is where Bechira I think has to come in though, right? Right. I mean,
here, the Havamina is almost that like being Bocha Bara is bad from a personal midos perspective, but like from like the system as a whole, like it's not going to necessarily affect it.
Right.
But like the Maskana is like no, like our like bad decisions will also like have bigger effects outside.
Right,
of just
but can have a detrimental effect on the entire system. Now,
and it's funny because I saw this whole video on the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yeah,
and it turns out there are multiple species of sea creatures which don't have swim bladders and rely on floating things in the ocean to get around.
Whoa! And
like for some reason, there's no more driftwood in the ocean, and so they use the garbage patch to like live and like And like when you like scoop out all the garbage, they're killing like these
Wow, that's
things, right?
messed up and
So, like,
depressing.
so part of
Yeah.
my mind has sometimes been like, well, maybe the garbage patch isn't so bad. Maybe it's part of God's system.
Yeah.
And dump it in the thing, and then you have these colonies.
Yeah.
So like I found this out, myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
I to convince myself that like maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah, right.
So like
I mean, it's funny. It is, without getting too political, I mean, it is an argument that people make, right? Of like, the version of the argument I often hear is paired with technology and progress of like, yeah, just totally destroy all the stuff because that's how you get, if you're destroying it as a byproduct of the progress, so then the progress will end up helping fix the thing, but that can lead to a sort of cavalier, like self-destructive attitude. Yeah. I also have another approach to what the Chiddush is, but it's based on the approach that Ken and I came up with, which is slightly different. So I'll hold off on that. So let's get other approaches on the table. Okay, I'm not saying we answered your question yet, but let's get your approach, Moshe, and then I want to get my approach on the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just start with the beginning of the Pasuk base.
Yeah.
Address your question about what does it mean Elokim B'Tzion.
Okay.
So I want to say that you're going to distinguish between two types of praise. So there's praise of God in terms of Elokim B'Tzion, because God as a mashgiach, like God is bocher the makom mikdash in Yerushalayim.
Yeah.
So that's God in Ramot Hashkafa. So in terms of that, you see the next pasuk is about tefillah. So the premise of that is that God can interact, and it's recognizing man's needs, and then it goes into man sinning, and also kapara, which is also something that God can do if he's mashgiach. But then and then it mentions, but men can reach a perfection in this area. Fine. But then it transitions to what was it? Allocation miftach kol kitzei aretz v'yam rachokim. Then it goes to the natural world, and in terms of the natural world, we can praise God because we can recognize His actions. But in terms of the area, let's say like al hashgacha and things related to like mikdash, that's beyond us.
Okay.
In terms of praise.
Okay, that's good. All right, this is also similar to what Ken and I were saying. All right, so let me try capturing that in words here. So yeah.
just like on that.
Yeah.
Because like this is you correct me if I'm wrong, Moshe. What I was kind of hearing him say is that like in like the more like esoteric like realms, we shouldn't like try to like posit our own ideas of, let's say, how Swarm, like how exactly Swarm ownership works, like how like that all that kind of works. But then so that's like to God, like silence is praise, but everything else that we are praising are like his works.
That's what knowledge of.
Meaning
So
that's maybe the finish of the
praise,
puzzle
you
is
can
that even though
recognize it.
Okay, that's nice.
even though to praise God, like vis-a-vis God, would be incorrect and wrong.
Yeah.
The way that we do have some sort of interaction is through the praise of the work.
Okay, that's good.
And
That's good also. Okay, so let me try getting all this down. So it begins with references to Hashem as mashgiach. So that's God in Zion, hearing tefillah, granting kapara, being engaging in kiruv, in the real kind of kiruv, right?
Yeah.
Kiruv lamakom. Was that? Yeah. And then transitions to did you have the point about the security, the miftach?
I didn't specifically.
Okay, all right, fine.
Miftach kol kitzei.
To God's relationship with the natural.
I'm thinking kol kitzei eretz is through the natural.
Right, through the natural world.
Yeah, you can see in the next.
Okay, and we can know that relationship, right?
Yeah.
But there is a real, an equally real, and I'm going to say theoretically, understandable system of the hashgacha as well, and our conviction in that should be bolstered by our conviction in what we see in the natural world. I guess so, or like, I don't want to put ideas in your mouth. In other words, let me just to say it verbally here, meaning that like there is this very amorphous feeling about like davening and like getting answered and like how kapara works and stuff like that. So it's very easy to feel that there is just no system there, or it's a total like mystery or like arbitrary whims of God or whatever. But no, we see. What was it?
Or a facade.
Or a facade, yeah. But we see though that there is this system in the natural world that we can appreciate and understand. And that is our security, that there is the system in terms of the way God relates to us as well.
I wasn't specifically saying that, but I guess it's a good idea.
Okay, then I'm projecting. I might be. You said that so despondently. Yeah. Yeah. So what were you saying?
I was just saying, no, all I said is the only type of Tehillah can be, can be in terms of like the Maaseh Hashem.
Well, that was what you said after Chaim said, ooh, but what did you say before
No,
that?
I think
Oh, did he? Okay.
I think he did say it before.
Okay, fine. So I'll put that here. So what is the point of Lecha Dumia Sehila? Sehila is we can't give any praise to God himself, but we can through appreciating his creations.
And
Yeah.
maybe go a little further to say, I mean, why doesn't it just start with the praise of the natural world? Because maybe you'd say like, ideally you would praise him for the Hashgacha. That's like, this is like the metaphysical ideas, and from a higher level, things that in theory it would be more fitting to praise God for, but that's beyond us. So we just have to resort to what we have.
Yeah. So the only problem is we do praise God for the other stuff. And I know like Lecha Dumia Sehila sounds like it's saying no.
Yeah.
So like I don't think we can take that too, too like all out,
What do we praise God for? Like
metaphysical stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Osa,
Yoter or
It's not bad. How is that bad?
I'm saying like the angels.
I was just saying Allah, but then you could say something
Alright.
like.
Well, what was that like? Did you say angels are natural forces? Yeah. Well, I mean, we say, I mean, Shomea Tefillah, I mean, is like Oren said, I mean, that is a praise about God relating to us,
Right.
metaphysically, Karo Hashem l'chol korav l'chol sheikro v'emes. I mean, things like that. Yeah.
I just want to say that, like, I think this idea makes the hinge like really, really, really.
Yes.
elegant.
Yes.
Because he's saying that, I mean, he's positing, because again, we can't really, I can't know at this point. I can't know anything about like the first half, right?
Yeah.
But he's like saying it like strongly that with awesome acts, or either he does answer us or may answer us.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happens. And like, who's this one who answers us? It's the God of salvation, the one who's the security of the earth.
Yeah.
And then he goes into all these things that we can look at. And we can know. It's like, that's the same one who's gonna go.
Exactly.
and do
That was what was driving my I guess slightly off target summary of
That's good.
Moshe's idea. The key word in the hinge is the security, I think, because, and I think security of all inhabits the earth's end and far off seas. All human beings depend on the system that we're describing in the second half. So it is the thing that we all take security in. We take security in the fact that there will be rain. There might be years of famine or whatever, but there will be rain and we will have food. So if we're taking security in that system of Hashgacha, we should take security in this other system of Hashgacha as well, even though we can't understand it as readily. Yeah. That's a nice idea.
Yeah.
I want to inject. Oh, did anyone was waiting in line? Yeah, Moshe.
Yeah.
Or online, as they say in New York. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have a couple ideas that or just one idea that I'm scrapping from a bigger idea that I had.
Scrapping from. Okay, yeah. Sorry, throw off. Scrap. Usually scrapping, you get rid of it. But yeah, anyway, go ahead. Oh, okay.
You rummaged through the junkyard.
Yeah.
So in this Tehilim, in this perek, as far as I'm aware, there doesn't seem to be any praises of God that refer directly to his essence. They're all about and vividly about his actions and how, and like what he does to the world.
Yeah.
But specifically, a lot of them are also not majestic or great actions, or
Right.
very calming. I mean, I think we're calm from the puzzle, but
Yeah.
they're very simple. I don't say simple, but
No.
they're not. I don't want to say fearful, because of puzzle.
I know what you're trying to say. They're not
God's
they're not
breaking them out.
niflaos.
God's not breaking or
Yeah,
flinging them out.
Right. This is not earthquake
Something
and wild, flashy, yeah.
He's not.
Kriyas Yamsufin, yeah.
He's not making the waves, or he's calming.
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, right.
Oh.
Mellow.
I
Yeah.
wonder if part of the idea of the Chadumia Tehillah
Yeah.
is not necessarily that you can't praise God, but that sometimes people might be caught up in trying to think about and trying to capture the greatest ideas of God as possible, right? There's that Gemara of the guy singing the continuing to say the praises of God,
Yeah.
and then
That's the one that
other-
the quotes this, I think. Or the Rama quotes this at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
and then the other guy comes and says, "Are you done yet?" Right?
Yeah.
So I think what he's saying is that I think it's been online with everyone else is saying that all I can do is talk about simply what I see,
Yeah.
and at the same time, specifically with what I see, I'm just going to talk about not the awesome or great things, but rather the I guess
The still small voice.
noble.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let me just get this down first. So the praises, so at no point do we praise God's essence, okay, in accordance with the first pasuk. Sorry, with pasuk bays, with pasuk bays, and even when we praise his actions, we're not praising, his flashy, wondrous actions, okay, like legozer yamsuf ligzarim, right? That's a phrase, right? Like that's like wow, or
All Ozzy shiur.
yeah, right, or
lightning,
lamake mitzrayim bivchorehem, right? Bivchorehem, right? So like rather, yeah, right. Well, that's a natural world thing, but yeah.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
it's still like, but I think it's Dolph like.
Yeah, it's
still something
it's
that's
quiet, right?
Wondrous in
Yeah.
in the natural world.
We focus on the the mellow, calm, Tehilim. I think it means what does it mean? Does it mean like every day?
It didn't turn red, so I don't think it
Quotidian. I think it means occurring every day. Right? That's a good word for this, right?
Yeah. It's a great word.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Learned a new word.
You know who I learned that from? I learned that from Shifra Chait in my English class. She used the word, and I was like, did you just use a thesaurus or something like that? Like, like to find it, and I had to look it up, but I'll tell her that. Yeah. Anyway, so phenomena, quotidian phenomena. Yeah. Why are we doing this?
Oh, I haven't answered.
Yeah. Did you say why and I missed it, or you're just observing? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say because this entire second half is all there to try to calm down the person who's like freaking out about this unknowing or this unknowable knowledge of God in the other realm. Meaning like you start off and you're like,
Yeah.
down right now. And you're like, oh, I can't know anything about God and his systems for Hashgacha Pratis.
Yeah.
Like Pratis and then like Skarv Onesh and Kapara and all that.
Yeah.
Then you move on to like the natural world where we're trying to like use as a way of knowing God. And I think if you like went to like, oh, and who's this God who does all this behind the scenes stuff? He's the one who like makes tsunamis and tornadoes and like
Yeah.
and causes lightning to like burn down your house.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I don't feel so great about
Yeah.
that. But if instead you're like, he's the one who like calmed down the water.
Yeah.
Like, he has.
Okay, I hear that. I'm not convinced that that's it. I do want to just point out a question before I call on David. Is I do wonder what the fearing your signs is referring to. We do have to go back and check that.
So with that, there may be a mini Havamina that these kinds of praises are representative of God's strength, but
Right.
but by the fact that no
Okay.
but tzedek ta'anenu, no, those are still representative of God's strength.
Right. So
And even though you may, and even in the pasuk itself, with those signs which are cause for fear are also seem to be cause for joyful praise.
Right. Okay. Good. See, objectively speaking, these are no raos, even though they don't,
Fear us.
subjectively strike us as such. Yeah, David.
I think that's a much greater Nora insofar as the world runs so smoothly and at peace. I think there's the things that are more of like the freak lightning, I think that that's like less of a, if you were to like look into it, I think that you could argue there's less beauty in like a one-time big shock of like tons of electrons all going like that.
Yeah.
It's just like every single day, everything works so smoothly, so perfectly.
Yeah, I quoted this half jokingly because I think the God is not in the earthquake, not in the thunder, etc. But in the small still voice, I think that idea like definitely matches here, Oren.
Yeah, I mean that's what's going on in the first half also, right? That's how you accomplish
Right.
Pasuk 5. That's how you become the one who draws near. And I think also maybe the chait that we need the kapara for is not doing this.
Oh, interesting. That's
like we're blinded and we don't
Yeah.
see that God is acting all the time, and so this is what we need to wake
okay.
up.
I'll note that. Okay, perhaps this is what we need the kapara for. Yeah, David, and then we got to end. Yeah.
There's one other thing, like first initial thing I got from the Chazon Yatila reminded me
Yeah.
of Moshe by the Sneh.
Yeah.
Madul Yivar has said that there was like some natural phenomenon, like that was when he went to
Mhm.
go observe and understand that.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, this is a freak thing, not running and jumping.
Yeah.
away. Like that's the
That's good.
looking at things in that way.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I really like these directions that we're taking here. So the plan for next week is going to be, I'm going to now scope out all the meforshim and then see if anyone takes this approach. I also have the approach that Ken and I are developing, but I could definitely use more time to do that. Next week, I will be over Zoom. Okay, we will have shiur bli neder, but I will be over Zoom because I'm going to be out of town. Yeah, okay. Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.